giving you some super simple snacks, SSS, to keep on hand for travels or even in your work drawer, and they are great for kids. So if you're picking them up from school and need to grab something quick or have some activities after school or whatever, here are some recommendations that we like to rotate through. There are 15 recommendations. I will compile these into a PDF form so that you can view it and you don't have to, jot them all down while watching the video. So I have included the nutrition facts for each item as well as the ingredients, and you will see that all of these items are going to be ingredients that I approve of and ones that I really enjoy. And then some of these items, for the most part, a lot of them will be ones that can be consumed on their own. But as we go through the list, you will see that there are a couple that are going to be a little bit more carb heavy, and therefore you will want to balance them with some protein and or quality fat for blood sugar control. So starting with the organic popcorn with olive oil from Trader Joe's. I love this one. I personally like to grab it, put some in a bowl for Connor and drizzle it with extra olive oil, and then I can add some nutritional yeast. That is not necessary. It can be consumed on its own. You'll see there's 18 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat. So if we add that 3 grams of protein plus 6 grams of fat, we have 9, which is at least half of total carbs. So if you are not familiar with my label lingo video, please watch that, and that whole analogy or that whole equation that I just did will make a little bit more sense. But this is an item that could be consumed on its own, or again, if you want to drizzle it with additional olive oil and add some even seasoning like a rosemary or cinnamon or nutritional yeast, that's another way to just boost the nutrient value. Another recommendation, the oven-baked pork rinds. So I will mention that Epic is a great company and I like their products, but we also, here we have HEB, and we will purchase their store brand baked pork rinds with sea salt. So no added ingredients. Once you go in the flavor direction, there's a lot of extra ingredients there, but they are much cheaper. So you can look and see if you have at your typical grocery store, if they have their own store brand, it might be a better choice, but you want to see that the ingredients are simple. So like the pork skin, salt, pink Himalaya sea salt, and additional sea salt. It might even just be pork skin, baked pork skins, and salt. It just kind of varies depending on the brand. But again, this is going to be one to consume on its own, or if you want to use it to pair, it is going to offer 11 grams of protein, 2.5 grams of fat. So no carbs. So therefore it does have adequate protein or fat to kind of balance out a carb. So as we get to more of those carb heavy options, this might be a good one to serve as that pairing option. Olives. So this brand, the Vegacopia, I like that their ingredients are pretty simple. They have the Greek Kalamata olives. They also have green olives. So I know that Connor loves olives. So these are a great option for him. Not all kids are going to like olives. Not all adults are going to like olives. That's okay. But I like to offer you some sweet, salty, savory options here so that you can rotate them. And I know for in our household, we as adults, we don't always want the same snacks, and nor does Connor, as a kid. So it's nice to have a variety. And I tend to bring 1 or 2 snacks with me, or keep one in the backpack and have one intended for him, so that way I have 2 snacks to offer if he's not really on board with that first snack. So the olives are going to be more of just a quality fat. So again, they could be used to balance out a carb, but they could also be consumed on their own. So you'll see, again, straightforward ingredients. We're not getting any canola oil or safflower or sunflower oil here, no added sugar. So that's why I like this brand. And you see that they are individual packets, which makes them nice and convenient. The Parmesan Wisps, and they do offer the big bags of this, which you can get at Costco, or you can get, a smaller bag at your typical grocery store, but they also have the individual packs. And you will see that for the one serving, one bag is going to be 1 gram of carb, 13 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat. So again, could be consumed on their own or used to balance out a carb. The only ingredient is Parmesan cheese. So a straightforward item. And if you're trying to avoid dairy with yourself or with your children, then this would not be an option that you would want to choose. But if you are incorporating dairy, this could be a great choice and non-perishable. And then organic string cheese. So again, used as a protein to balance out and offering some quality fat as well. So this is one that, you are going to have to keep it cold. So that does take away a little bit of the convenience factor. But if you're going to pick your, child up from school or you have an after school activity, this could potentially fit into that, or even sending it in their lunchbox with an ice pack. The Epic bar, so they have jerkies, and I like the salmon, the smoked salmon jerky, but they also have beef, chicken, bison, venison. They might even have more options to choose from, but you'll see that their ingredients are pretty straightforward. I like that they're adding some extra like herbs and spices, which adds flavor, but also some health benefits. There is maple sugar in here, so you will see that there are 3 grams of added sugar. Ideally, I like to see no more than 5 grams of added sugar for an item. So that falls within that, optimal. If we can have 0 grams of added sugar, that's going to be the ideal. But mainly going to offer up protein and fat, which is more than balancing out those carbs. So this is something that you could use to balance out a carb, but I would say more so consuming it on its own is what I would recommend, just because it doesn't have a ton of extra protein and fat to balance out like a piece of fruit. The holy guacamole. So again, this would be a refrigerated option, and you could offer it with some organic corn chips or even some carrots or sliced cucumber. Again, I know that's going to take a little bit more prep work, but those are options. You could also just offer it with a spoon, right? Like guacamole and avocado is delicious, but it really just depends on what your preferences are, what your child's preferences are. Straightforward ingredients, and it is going to be something that would serve as more of a quality fat than anything else. Hence the reason that you could add some organic corn chips, because that would allow for that balance. Ideally, so I will say that organic corn chips, although it's best to get organic, most tortilla chips are going to have some kind of canola or sunflower or safflower oil added to them. So if you can do the Siete tortilla chips, those are going to be grain-free and corn-free, and they use avocado oil. I know they are more expensive, but if you're just doing like a few of them here and there, it can definitely be worth it. Again, another option would be just doing like some sliced veggies, which would be awesome, and that would get more nutrient density in there as well. And then mush. So this is like almost like an overnight oats, but where you're buying it pre-made. There are many different flavors here. I just chose the apple cinnamon to look at for the ingredients as well as the nutrition information. You'll see that the carbs are quite high. So ideally, I like to see no more than that 30 grams of carbs. But again, if this is for a child especially, and your child is quite active, they need a little bit more of those carbs, and they're probably going to utilize that energy quite rapidly. It does have 0 grams of added sugar, which is awesome. Only 7 grams of protein, but 8 grams of fat. So if we can add that 7 plus 8, we're going to get 15 grams right there. That is going to be closer to that half of 34. Not quite balanced on its own. So I would say if you could add, a little individual like nut packet or something like that alongside it, that would be ideal. But if it were being consumed on its own, I think it would be close enough of a balance there that it wouldn't be a concern. And you can see ingredients are pretty straightforward. And it is going to be a dairy-free option. Then the yogurt as an easy option. I do like this extra creamy skyr. So they're like whole milk yogurt of the Icelandic provisions, and straightforward ingredients. There are not only, but there are 6 grams of added sugar. I will say, I start to say only because many yogurts that you look at will have 15 grams of added sugar, or, it's usually 10 plus grams, which is a little concerning, but I do like that this one is on the lower end, and you can see that although it's 12 grams of carbs, we have 11 grams of protein, 7 grams of fat. So it's pretty balanced. And then if you wanted to add a little bit of fruit or berries or something like that, you can, but it would be great consumed on its own as well. Again, one that you're going to have to keep refrigerated. So it does take away a little bit of that convenience factor, but it is pretty simple because all you need is a spoon and you just eat it right out of that container. Dark chocolate is another option. I know Connor loves dark chocolate, and rather than even doing like a 70%, I'll actually give him 100% cacao. And we have these little like cacao circles that he loves. And sometimes I'll give him like the unsweetened coconut flakes along with them. But depending on what your child likes in regards to chocolate or what they're used to, if you've been giving them milk chocolate, then starting with like a 70% and slowly working your way up to ideally like an 85% plus would be what I would recommend. And you'll see that it's going to be a lot of quality fat here, but you're also going to have some carbs. So I would say fairly balanced, and consuming it just on its own would be fine. Or if you wanted to have it with like, broken into some pieces and mixed with nuts or seeds, I think that would be a great choice. Or like I mentioned, the unsweetened coconut flakes. These GoGo Squeeze pouches, I like this brand. I know there are many options out there, but I like that their ingredients are pretty straightforward and they're not adding any natural flavors, because that natural flavors can be that umbrella term for over 200 different chemicals. So you will see that they are straight up carbs. So this is an item that you would want to pair with some protein and or quality fat. So 16 grams of carbohydrates for each of the different flavors, the organic apple, the apple banana, or apple strawberry, and no protein or fat to offer. So making sure that you're either pairing it with protein and or quality fat, like the pork rinds or some nuts or seeds, or even just some of the unsweetened coconut flakes. And then these are going to be similar to the That's It bars. So again, if we're looking for convenience factor, if you're on the go a lot and keeping fresh fruit available is not as convenient, then these are a good option where they're going to be straightforward. 1 apple, 12 strawberries in the bar. That's it. 1 apple, 20 blueberries. That's it. So no preservatives, no chemicals, no added sugar, but they are going to be relatively high in carbs, especially considering the fact that there's little to no protein and no fat. So make sure that you pair these appropriately. And then these are some options that you can use to pair. So the organic sprouted pumpkin seeds and sea salt, these are nice. They're individual packs. So simply giving one of these packs and a That's It bar to your child could be a great combination. Easy to keep those in your bag, in your car, in your child's backpack, whatnot. And then the toasted coconut chips. So this is what I reference when I'm saying the unsweetened coconut flakes that I'll give. And you'll see that these are going to be mainly a quality fat. So great for pairing with either even that mush pre-made oatmeal and kind of putting that on top, or adding it with the GoGo Squeeze or the That's It bar. And it is in a large bag, but you can just kind of put some in a small container and have that alongside. And then these pistachios, but they have them in many different types of nuts and seeds. Not necessarily this brand, but you can get just like plain raw almonds, or you can even get from the bulk bins, like the walnuts or pecans, whatever kind of nut you want. Obviously, there is a convenience factor when you can get them in the individual packs, which typically I see pistachios and almonds. And these are going to serve more as a quality fat. So really great for balancing out some of those more carbohydrate-rich snacks. So that's 15 snacks to hopefully give you some new ideas, all whole real ingredients, good quality nourishment and fuel for adults and kids alike. And I hope that you will find some, at least, that you enjoy and that you find realistic and convenient to incorporate into your routine.